Hello guys, today our topic is about web browser by Ayushi Jan. What is web browser? The web browser is an application software to explore World Wide Web. It provides the interface between server and client requests to the server for web document and services. It works as complement to render HTML, which is used to design a web page. When we search anything on the internet, the browser load a web page written in HTML, including text, links, image, other items such as style sheet and JavaScript functions. Um, a history of web browser. What is the history of web browser? In 1990, the World Wide Web was the first browser ever created by W3 director Tim Berners-Lee that renamed Linux for differentiate from actual World Wide Web. Unlike today, this was the only web and the only way to access the web. In 1992, Linux was text-based browser that could not display any graphic context. In 1993, Mosaic was the first browser that allowed images to merge in the text. It is the first most popular browser. In 1994, a noticeable improvement of MOS came in Netscape Navigator. In 1995, Internet web browser made in debut as a Microsoft first web browser. In 1996, Operate start with the search operation in 1994 that went public 2 years later. This was also a beginning of the web browser wars, which is mainly between IE3 and Navigation 3 as Internet Explorer ahead of new capabilities. In 2003, Apple Safari browser was released for specify the computer of Navigator. In 2004, Mozilla launched Firefox as Netscape and Navigate faded out. In 2004, Mozilla launched in 2007, Mobile Safari was introduced and Apple mobile web browser continue for the iOS market. In 2008, Google Chrome appeared, soon take over the browser market. In 2011, Opera Mini was released and focused on fast-growing mobile browser market. In 2015, Microsoft Edge was born in compact of Google. Now, what architecture of a browser? A browser is a group of structure that codes the performance plenty of tasks to display a web page on the screen. These codes are separated into a different components according to task performed. There are seven types of components: user interface, browser engine, rendering engine, networking, JavaScript interpreter, UI backend, and data projections. Um, User interface, it is a space between interaction user browser occurs. Most of the browser have common input for user interface. Some of them has an address bar, next back button and buttons for home, refreshing, stop and web pages. Browser engine, it is a piece of code communicates input of user interface with redundant engine. It is responsible of querying and manipulating the register according to inputs from various users. Reticular engine, it is a part of responsibility of request content of screen. It is a HTML tags using sheets. It is built in the render tree and finally layout which has display on the screen. Um, The fourth one is networking. The fraction of code written in browser responsible to send a network calls. For the example, in the server Java interpreter, it is a component of browser written in interpreter in a Java code in a web page. UI backend, it is a draw weightage of browser like Combo Box and Windows, etc. Data storage, it is a small database created in the local drive of a computer where browser is installed, and this database storage has various files like cache, cookies, etc. Web browser. Current web browser, there are some personal current web browser that are using nowadays like Internet Explorer, Opera, Mozilla, Firefox, Safari, Adventure browser, Conquer, Linux, Google Chrome, Extern Flux, Aaron, Epicson, Kmalan, AOLC Explorer. What Internet browser? Internet browser was a free graphical browser maintained by a Microsoft Legal Enterprise users. It is a currently default Microsoft. Microsoft IE has nine in 1995 as work as package called Microsoft Plus. Internet browser is a worldwide browser that comes with the Microsoft operating system. The browser was disparate in Windows 10 up to it is remaining a part of OS has no longer it is no longer default. Uh, Opera handles the internet related tasks such as displaying sites, setting and receiving email messages, managing contacts, IRC, online chatting, downloading file via reading web. Opera is free charge personal computer mobile phone, but for the others while it must be paid for. Features of Opera including tapped browse page, zooming mouse gesture, and integrating download management. Safari is a graphical web development by Apple. It is primarily based on an open source software and mainly WebKit. It is such Netscape, Navigator, and Internet for the Mac of web browser for many computers. Safari has seamless syncs for your password, bookmarks, history tabs, and more across Mac, iPad, iPhone, and Apple Watches than when your Mac, iOS, and iPad, iOS devices are near each other. They can automatically pass what you are doing in a Safari from one device to another device using handoff. Google Chrome. Google Chrome is a cross-platform web browser and developed by Google. It was the first release in 2008 for Microsoft Windows, built-in free component from the WebKit Mozilla version of Linux, Mac OS, iOS, and where default browsers are. Google Chrome is a such web browser developed by Google. It is based on Chrome open source project. Some key difference from different browser stack component support layout is called Blink, and there are many more web browsers that I have mentioned, but these are the main ones that are currently used, so I have included these only. And thank you.